Hey guys, so I have another creative makeup tutorial for you guys today. I am making a body paint that is very much inspired by Alexander Jansen. I will link him down below and his lovely artwork. He just has like the prettiest color schemes and the lighting is like gorgeous. So yeah, that is linked down below and y'all should check him out. So the first thing we're doing though is I am sketching out what I'm going to be painting, which is what I normally do. I'm using the NYX white eyeliner. And I am sketching out this little house. This house has like perspective to it. I'm not the greatest at perspective, but I think I did okay. And this house has like little wings on it, and there's a little man coming out of the bottom. So we're just sketching in everything, windows, lights, because there's like little lanterns. Yeah, there's little lanterns on this house as well. By the way, guys, I'm sorry this tutorial is like, it's so fucking long. I had a really hard time cutting it down because this look is so detailed, so I'm sorry. I tried though, and I could only get it down to like 30 minutes, so yeah, it's really long. Alright, so we are starting painting. I am using my very well-loved Mehron palette, and I am creating the gradient of the background. So the gradient is a little bit more, it's a little bit more like detailed than most of my gradients are. Normally they're just kind of, you know, your average gradient, but this one has colors going in and out of it. The first color I went in with is baby blue, and I faded it into white, and then teal, and then dark blue. On the sides, there's like very dark green, and it fades into black. So I am creating like a very like kind of moody looking sky, and at the bottom, like the bottom layer where I have it sketched out a line, there's water down there. So the gradient between the sky and the bottom, where like the land and the water is very similar, but we're going to be adding definition in later to differentiate those. So right now they look kind of like a blob, but we're going to differentiate it and add more definition to it. By the way, guys, I've said this before, but like in other creative makeup tutorials, but if you guys don't know, every time I lay down a paint, I go in with my sponge and tap it out because it just helps the paint spread more evenly, and then I go in and kind of like layer up paint if I want it to be more opaque. What we are doing now is I'm adding more of like a painterly cloud-like texture to the sky. So how I'm doing that is I'm going in and I'm adding like kind of darker clouds. I'm wiggling my brush around with quite a bit of paint on it. And that like dark kind of teal shade is gray and teal and a little bit of black mixed together. And then I'm going in with a little bit of white paint and I'm making lighter clouds. And they're the same exact kind of swishy, kind of wiggly brush stroke. I also took dark blue and I just added a line to differentiate the sky from the water. And then I took my Sephora watercolor palette. I took the light blue from it and I'm just adding that in certain areas to my skyline to make the color more opaque. And then I'm taking my teal from the Viseart Editorial Brights palette and I'm just putting that in certain teal areas of the skyline and also bringing it into the darker color going onto my shoulders because I want there to be more of like a cloud-like texture there. Same thing with the dark blue from that same exact palette, just adding more of like a cloud-like texture to the skyline and then adding some to the water at the bottom. Once I'm done with that, I am taking Axis from the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette and I'm adding some deeper, darker teal tones to the sky and the water. This is the NYX SFX cream paints. I'm taking the white one and I'm taking my little tiny beauty blender and I'm just tapping some of that onto my skyline, and it's just creating clouds how I normally do them, just like nice fluffy clouds. I'm also adding a little bit of that white cream paint to the bottom, like near where the water is, to, and again, create like another line of like a highlight down there, and also adding a little bit of that white to the water to create a little bit of a highlight happening in the water. Once I get done adding those clouds and highlights and stuff to the sky, I'm taking the green cream paint and I'm adding some green to where the land is, which is on my like lower arms. And I'm also adding a little bit of green to the skyline. Again, just to have like more layers of clouds and like cloud colors. And I did the same thing with the blue, added some blue to the skyline. and blue to the water with my finger. Oh, and I'm doing it with the black too. So I'm taking the black and adding some like dark clouds on the sides of my arms. And then I took like this spiky brush that I have from NYX and I tapped it in the black cream paint. And I'm adding like spiky kind of plant-like texture to the land. And then I took the green, same thing, and I tapped that into the sky and just added a little bit of a texture happening. And then I took teal paint and I mixed it with a little bit of gray and I'm painting in the house with that. The roof is it's the like lighter blue paint that I have in my mehron palette, and then I'm taking the lightest blue paint and I'm coloring in the windows on the top part of the roof. And then this next thing is another window, but it's like a gray window. It's coming out of, I don't know what these things, what is that, like the rafters? Or I don't know what that's called on a roof, but it's coming out of this black part of my roof. And beams? I don't know. So I'm coloring that in with gray, and then I colored in the, whatever this is, black. We're also coloring in our little like house batwing things in with black. And I'm also coloring, so you can see the sky behind that bell, because there's like another window on the other side that you can't see. So I'm coloring in that with the light blue, and then I'm coloring in the bottom part and the dude with black paint. We're also painting our bell, which is a dark brown, and then I took gray and I painted behind the bell. So there's a very like warm light coming from our windows, and also the little like street lantern thingies. So I'm painting them with yellow paint, and for the windows I'm going in with orange. I'm just tapping some of that so like the warmth is getting warmer coming from the windows. And then I went and I did an outline with brown around the windows. There's also warmth coming from our bell, because why not? And then I added gray paint to the top of the like street lamp things. Alright, so now we are taking the Viseart Editorial Brights palette, and I'm just setting, or I'm not really setting, I'm building up opacity with eyeshadow like I did to the skyline. So I'm taking teal, doing that bottom part of the house, and I took my light blue from that same palette and I'm doing the roof. And then I took the dark blue from that same palette and I am starting to define the roof. So around the windows, where the roof kind of goes back in perspective. And then I took Access from the Subculture palette and I basically did the same thing to the lower part of the house where the teal is. I'm also adding the sort of texture that the house has and the shading as well. I took the yellow from that Viseart palette and I'm adding like a bit of more of like a glowy quality to my window and beneath the bell, and I'm adding a little bit of shading to the bell as well. And I took the Smashbox Punked palette, I'm taking the dark gray from that, and I'm starting to sort of define and just make more of a form to that window that I have on the black part of my roof. With that same gray, I added a little bit more of like a form to my bell, and then I added some gray to the roof and my top window part, and also the windows on the top of the roof and my little like street lantern things. And I took like the lighter gray from that same punked palette and I added some highlights to my bat wings. With white from the Viseart palette, I added a highlight to my blue windows. Going back into punked, I took again the dark gray and I outlined my windows on my teal like part of the house, and then I started to shade in the roof some more. Going into my iMagic cream paint palette, I took yellow first. I'm taking like a flat round brush and I'm starting to add the beginning stages of highlights. So I'm adding highlights to my house, and I also took some of that cream paint and I added it to the like warmer toned windows on the teal part of my house. And I added a little quick highlight on my bell. And then I took teal and also white, and I'm starting to add a bunch of highlights all throughout the house, just everywhere on the teal part. I also took white and I added some highlights to the black part of the roof and my little gray window thing and the wings. With the NYX foundation mixer, I'm just highlighting literally everything. I'm highlighting every single thing on this house. And sometimes I'm going in with the brush and I'm laying down the foundation mixer and I'm just letting it lay down. And then other times when I want it to be more of a dull highlight, I'm taking my finger and I'm just tapping it out and it just dulls down the highlight that I put down. This is Lime Crime's Blue Milk. I am taking this and I'm adding more highlights to the teal and the blue part of the house. Just everywhere, just all over the place, you guys. You guys know how I do with my highlights. I go batshit crazy. But yeah, so we're adding it everywhere. As you guys may notice, I have like tiles on the roof. I hate that. Like, it looks so ugly, so I'm not going to show you guys how to do that because it looks hideous. I wish I didn't add them. This is Absolute New York's Cotton Candy Liner in Mint. Just again, more highlights. I'm not adding like as much as I did with Blue Milk, but I'm adding a couple more. This is the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner in Dauntless. I added some of this to my bell just to shade it a little bit, and then I took Punked from that same Smashbox palette, and I'm adding like the crosses on the windows. With the NYX Vivid Bright and Vivid Halo, I'm adding yellow everywhere. So like underneath my bell, to my glowy windows, all throughout the house, just all throughout it. And also on my street lamp things. I'm adding like a dot on those and then blending it out with my finger. Again, we're taking the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner in Dauntless, and I'm adding some like slight sort of highlights to the bat wings, to the bottom part where my little guy is, and also adding the cross to the gray window. Then we're taking my baby, the Smashbox Always On Liquid Liner. I love this thing. And I'm outlining my house. Now for the last set of highlights to this house, at least. I'm taking the white liquid liner from NYX and I'm highlighting everything. Everything, just everything. Again, with my love, Smashbox Always On Liquid Liner, I'm just drawing on just the bottom stuff. So I'm giving like my little street lantern things little curly lines. And then I took Dauntless again and I'm just adding some lines of structure to those street lanterns with that. With the NYX white liquid liner, I'm just adding some more highlights, those little like street lamp pole things, because highlights make everything look better. And then I took Punked again, dark gray shade, and then just added some structure lines to my little lanterns, and then some highlights with again the white. Then I'm adding in like the rail that's on the roof, and I'm doing this with my love, the Smashbox Always On liquid liner. And this was kind of hard because it's underneath my dub chin. I can barely see what I was doing. But I also added the poles to my little lanterns. Going into this beautiful palette, the ZR Editorial Brights, I am taking yellow, and I wanted to make it look like my lamps were emitting light, so that's what I'm doing, just tapping some yellow, and also I wanted some light coming from the windows. Smashbox Always On liquid liner. I just did the cross in the windows with that. And then I took Vivid Halo, and I'm just adding like little dots coming from the lanterns where the light is coming from. It's like, I don't know, lightning bugs or just something. It's just cute, you know? And then I took Vivid Escape or Vivid Envy, they're both green, and I tapped that on the bottom, like where the land is, and it just makes it look like a little plant, you know? I don't know what type of plant, but it's a cute little plant. But I went from Vivid Envy or Vivid Escape to Vivid Halo, and then the last bit that I did was the white liquid liner, and it's just like building a bit of a gradient with like highlights. Yeah, we're just layering all of those up. With Blue Milk, I am adding highlights to my water. They're just basically like lines, and yeah, they're just lines of highlights. And I'm taking my finger out and kind of smudging it because it looked a little bit too intense. And then this is like, I don't know what this is. It's like a bush or something. It just looked weird. So I just tapped some of Blue Milk on top of that to lighten it up. And then I took Vivid Sapphire, and I just added some kind of mid-tones to the water. We are finally doing the clouds. So I am taking my NYX SFX green paint in white, and I'm taking my finger and I'm just tapping. It just makes a really fluffy texture. If you guys have seen me do creative looks, I do clouds in a lot of them, and I'm just doing them how I normally do them. Now we're taking the eye magic palette. So I am taking white first, and I have like a round brush. That's like a round small brush, and I'm just dragging it down to create highlights on my clouds. And then once I'm done with the white, I'm taking the yellow cream paint, and I'm adding just a little bit of like warmth to the clouds with that. This is the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner. It's dark purple, and I don't know which shade it's in. It's in my drawer, but I'll have it in the description box. And I'm doing some lines coming down from the sky. So some of them are longer and some of them are shorter. And these are supposed to be strings that these little dangly stars are connected to. It's just like a little thing I like to incorporate sometimes in art. It's just kind of cute and sort of juvenile looking. But yeah, so I'm doing the stars with the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner in, no, not NYX Vinyl Liquid, Vivid Bright in Vivid Halo, and I'm just doing very like simple stars. Like, you know, like when you're in elementary school, you learn how to like do stars. I'm basically doing that and then coloring them in. This is the Absolute New York Cotton Candy Liner. It's a yellow, I think it's in lemon or something, but I'm doing more like different types of stars, so I'm just doing some little dots in my sky. It's just creating like texture. And I also took the white liquid liner and I added a highlight to my strings because they weren't really popping a whole lot, and I thought they needed a little something. And then I took Blue Milk from Lime Crime, and I'm adding some dots of that into the sky. The very last thing we're doing in this chest piece, thanks be baby Jesus, is the white liquid liner. I'm adding some highlights to my water. Just lines like I did with Blue Milk. And yeah, we're finally done the chest. Woo! Woo! I'm so sick of like explaining it. It takes so long. But now we're on to the face. So I took my Makeup Forever combo of primers, which is the mattifying and the pore minimizing, and I'm rubbing them all over my face. And then I took the Kryolan TV's paint stick in 070 and I am putting that all over my face. I wanted there to be a bit of a fade from white to teal on the outer part of my face, so I took some paint and I just put that on the outer perimeters of my face. This is the Kat Von D concealer in Whiteout. I put that just everywhere, basically like where you would highlight, and also just anywhere on my face where there's white, because I wanted to make it more opaque, more of an opaque white. With my Stargazer white powder, this is like an opaque white powder, I am tapping that on my face to set it. With the Viseart Editorial Bright Palette, I took the teal shade, and I'm kind of contouring with this, but I'm also just kind of putting it all over the parameters of my face, so I'm sort of like also bronzing with it, I guess. Yeah. So we're just building up that teal. I'm also taking the yellow, and I wanted to go from like teal to yellow because, bitch, I like yellow. I just really like the shade yellow. And I think green and like yellow are a nice color combination. So I'm just adding that to the cheeks, chin, nose, forehead, cupid's bow, eyes, and I'm just further shading. With Gloom from the Pastel Goth palette from Kat Von D, I am contouring down my nose bridge a little bit. Going back into Subculture, I'm taking Axis, and I am contouring my cheekbones. It's funny because I feel like this blended really well, even though like everybody talks about how Subculture sucks ass. But I feel like it blended really well for my cheekbone contour. And then I took the yellow again from the Viseart palette, and I'm just dragging some of that down on my cheeks from my eye. I'm taking Gloom again, and I'm just putting that in my outer V and just working it back and forth to blend it. I took a bit of Gloom and I put it on like that yellow kind of tear thing that I have going on because I thought it'd be a nice pretty gradient. This is the JCat holographic eye topper, and it's in Wink Tank, and I put this in like the inner part of the eye, and then I took the Milani eye topper, Hypnotic Lights eye topper, yeah, and it's in Prismatic Light, and I put that kind of in the middle of the eye, so there's like a bit of a super glittery gradient thing happening. Taking my Mehron black paint. I'm doing, for the liner, I'm doing like a batwing liner. I wanted to do like a really simple one. It's supposed to mimic the batwings that are on my house. So yeah, we're just putting that on there. And this actually worked really well as a liner, which is surprising. I've never like used my Mehron paint as a liner, but I liked it. I liked it as that. This is the Notoriously Morbid Multichrome in Dream. I am putting that like where the Batwing is because I thought it should be more of a darker gradient going into the Batwing. So this is more of like a darker green, so I just tap that on top. And then I took Mary Jane from Chaos Makeup and I put that on the inner part of my eye. And again, with Axis from the Subculture palette, I'm creating gradient brows, so I wanted them to go from teal to black. So I'm putting Axis towards the front, and then I took the Kat Von D pomade and I put that towards the back of my brow, so the arch. With again my Smashbox Punk palette, I am adding some little highlights with the light gray shade to my bat wings. And then we're taking the NYX foundation mixer in white, and I'm adding a highlight to each part where we put gray, I'm putting a highlight with the white. With the NYX Vinyl Liquid Liner in Dauntless, I'm adding 3 lines going down from my eyes. And I'm doing that same like dangle star thing that I did on my chest. I'm doing that below my eyes. And then yet again, I'm taking the NYX Vivid Bright in Vivid Halo, and I'm just doing those simple stars that I did on the chest. I'm doing them on my face. This is Mary Jane from the Chaos Makeup Artist highlighters. I am adding a little highlight to my cheeks, my nose, my cupid's bow, and my inner corner. With my Revlon eyeliner, it's a yellow eyeliner, I am putting that on my waterline. Alright, so you know, like in every single one of these looks, I put dots on my face, so I'm putting dots on my face. This is the NYX Vinyl, or Vivid Bright in Vivid Halo. I'm putting dots all over with that, on my cheekbones, on the bridge of my nose. Then I took Vivid Envy, I believe, and I did dots with that. And then I took the white liquid liner, and I did dots with that all over my face. With my cream paints, I'm taking the white and I always like adding like a little highlight to my nostrils, so that's what I'm doing. And then I'm taking Smashbox's Always On Liquid lipstick in teal with it, and I'm putting that on my lips. And can I just say, I love how teal lipstick looks. Like, it looks so good. I love like wearing it. I wish it was more socially acceptable. Whenever I wear it, I feel like a fucking weirdo. But I feel like it really goes with this look. Like, ugh. I actually really like how this look turned out. Like, a couple of my looks, like, I particularly like, and this is one of those ones. So, if you guys like this video, go check out Alexander Jansen's art. I will link him down below. Subscribe, it makes me happy, and I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Bye, guys!